hear the difference. Jeez. If you tune in and listen to them, you can hear them take up baits, and you can hear them take freebies, and as soon as you take that up bait, there's just a different sound. They spook.
We had Dave Lane on talking about his having his dead seagull out.
Tell Chili, let him just.
And what is it?
Whoa! There you go. That was it. First one.
Titled A Merry Old Dance.
Mickey Gray.
Mickey Gray.
I hit it. No, I already pressed the button.
Ages ago.
Well, guys, summer is in full swing, and in this episode, we get into the art of floater fishing, tactics, tips, and methods to help you catch more carp off the surface. We get into also Mark Pitchers and Lewis Porter cheating in a fishing match. Surely not. And stick around to the end, we can get your hands on a load of fox kit. Welcome back to the All-Ways Carp Fishing Podcast.
Are we going to start the swear box then?
Yeah,
now?
We'll introduce it now. We'll say.
Okay,
So
and then Lou will accrue some swears, probably.
Yeah.
And he can pay in next time. When you've got the box.
I've got £1.50 with me, so if you do it 50p a time, I can swear 3 times.
Is the swear box just for Lewis?
I don't think 50p cuts it.
No, I don't think 50p.
The swear box. Well, we need to. We recorded
need to debate this,
the swear box can't.
Or I've got two £10 notes, so I'm not putting £10.
Well, yeah,
might
but
as
if
well
you
lock
swear
one in.
twice,
You know you've got 10. So someone really pisses you off. Oh, there you go. There's one. So, do you know what I mean? You're in credits. You can go to town.
I don't know. I feel like if you're using the swear box as a deterrent, then.
But then the pot won't build up, because if I'm putting in those sums of money, I just definitely won't swear because I hardly talk.
I don't know. I think you
because you'll just hardly talk. Well, then there won't be any point in you being here.
What, you want me to? Yeah. Well, I'm not going to just swear for the sake of swearing just so you can build your pot of money up, am I? That would just be stupid.
All proceeds go to charity, and I think it shouldn't hinder your character, mate. I think it comes with passion when you feel someone wrongs you or you feel strongly about something. I think it's good to have a few.
Anyway, why are we talking? Why? But why have you? Because you brought up that we were gonna start a swear box.
Well, only because Abby originally, after the last podcast, said you swear too much on the podcast, and I was like, I know it's hard not to. It's just natural. And then there was a few comments on the video as well, which I'm still not sure whether they're just not Abby with fake accounts just to try and prove her point.
Yeah, she's ringing her mum. Mum, can you make a comment as well?
But yeah, a few people just said that I swear a lot, and if young people are watching it, that's not good. So
hold on. We cut if like I imagine this is being in the film. We can't be doing that with.
Sorry, I thought we were on it.
Users texting.
I'm sorry, I thought we were on it. I thought, are we still in?
I'm leaving this in, actually.
Oh, right. So I'm only trying to do some work.
Busiest man in the business, isn't he?
Busiest man in the building. Yeah, righto. So next time, we'll start today, but there will be a swear box in the middle of the table. So we'll have to mind our P's and Q's going forward.
Sorry for picking my phone up. Put it back down.
So
turn it over so I
so
can't see
everybody has to put money into it. It's not just
I
me.
think so. Yeah. We're up for that.
Are we doing that with guests? Because we'll have some.
We can brief them.
Sweary guests.
Just won't tell Chili. We'll let him just.
And what is it?
Whoa! There you go. That was it. First one.
Yeah. First one. Have we done the prize? Have we done the?
I didn't swear.
You did. You said fuck.
No, you did. Now you did.
Oh, I don't get one for saying that.
I did. Rewind that back. I did, and I was just about to say, "Are we doing it for a £5?" I didn't swear. I said fuck. I went to say for £5. I didn't swear.
I am not sure about that.
No.
Let him just. And what is it?
Because either way, one of you have got to pay in. That's for sure.
I was saying, are we doing it for a £5? I went 5, and then I said fuck for £5, and then you've just gone swear.
Hold on. Well, you can pay in next week if everybody comments below whether you think it was a swear or not a swear from Lewis, and majority things.
And I said the word because I was trying to say the word he was saying, but then I didn't.
Yeah, that's like when a sibling grasses their brother or sister up by saying, "Mummy, Charlie just said X."
A naughty word.
Yeah. And then do you clip that one around the ear as well? Because they said the swear word as well.
Charlie bit my finger.
Probably.
Yeah.
So how much is it going to be? A £5?
Well, did you swear then? No, you said fiver, which was what I was just about to say.
Well, you didn't.
I think we're just so used to hearing these profanities come out of your potty
Anything
little
beginning with
mouth
an F or an S, then I'm just going to be done straight away.
I ain't walking away from the podcast like 25 quid a day. Let's go a pound.
A pound?
Let's go a pound.
A pound, and then
Lewis can pay a fiver because you're rich.
What are you going to say then?
And then it goes.
No, I'm not.
Okay, cool.
I mean,
Right. Pound.
what we should
And it will
have,
go to charity.
Go to charity.
it's
at
a
the end of the year.
pound
Yeah.
other than the C word. If anybody uses that,
Ooh,
then
that's
a
a
tenner.
fiver.
No, a tenner, I reckon,
tenner.
for the
Yeah,
C word.
tenner.
Yeah, it should be graduated. And where do you draw the
Yeah.
line? When's it
don't-
not a
I've-
swear word?
I've-
It's like,
somebody dropped
if you
a
say,
C
that's a
word.
load of bollocks.
That's not a swear.
That's not-
slang.
Has
Isn't
somebody
it?
dropped a C-bomb in the podcast? Surely they haven't.
I
Probably
don't know.
Lewis.
But I mean,
I've
Yeah,
had to
that's
beep
true.
a few, to be fair.
Yeah, we,
or cut them out. Yeah.
yeah, but me and Harry both watched Samir's new South Africa film that's come in yesterday, and Claire dropped the C-bomb in that.
Yeah.
that needs an expletive on it.
Oh,
Needs
was
a
that
bleep.
when they were savagely attacked by an elephant?
No.
No.
Oh, right. I mean, I could.
It was when he
when he threw
some particles on
party
her.
mix at her.
All right, so they got
give the film
savagely
a-
attacked
yeah.
by an elephant, and it was fine. But
Yeah.
he threw some party mix in the air. It covered Claire, and she
Yeah,
dropped a C-bomb.
Oh, some film that Lewis and I had the privilege of watching the first cut of it
Yeah.
yesterday.
Mega, yeah.
Just wow,
We'll
Wow. Fair play.
very very exciting for that.
talk
to
about
go
that
out.
with Samir when he's on in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
looking forward to getting here, and I know he said he's put his heart and soul into this edit, which clearly, by the sound of it, he has, according to you boys. Then,
Yeah, like he obviously he's sent it to us so we can give any feedback, any changes. And I'm normally quite a stickler for putting a big list of changes together and sending them through. I think I asked for maybe 4 changes in the first 5 minutes, and then the next like hour and a half was just
wow.
nothing.
Oh mate, I
brilliant.
can't wait. That is
Really,
going to be
really
such
brilliant.
an epic film. Looking forward to that. Guys, we are in the height of summer. Everyone's asking about summer fishing, the ins and outs. Scott, me and you had a good conversation before about the goings on at fisheries at the moment with the lack of rain at the moment. I've seen a few fisheries closing, oxygen problems. Like I say, I know you're dealing with certain aspects on your lake at the moment, what you run.
Yep.
How are you guys finding it as well? Have you seen fisheries struggling out there with the drought at the moment?
I was just reading. I was having a number 2 just before the podcast started, and I usually use that as an opportunity to do a bit of Instagram scrolling
Yeah.
and Facebook as well. Don't discriminate, like both social media platforms equally. And I saw, I think they're in France. I don't know, so apologies if they're not, but I think they're in France. A fishery called the Retreat.
Yeah, I read that this morning.
And
Right.
I think
Tis France.
they've lost like 20% of their stock in the last few days, including like their big, like famous big fish that they have.
Was that
there.
oxygen?
Yeah, I think so. Like,
I mean, it does it
just-
like this time of year. It comes around every year. You get fisheries that have oxygen problems. Unfortunately, it is just it's literally nature. I was going to say it's the nature of the beast, but it's
More so now than
How-
ever before. Go back 25, 30 years ago, and we never really experienced as much as we do now. But I think that's because you've got more places that are fishery managed now. So you've got bigger stocks, higher stock levels,
more nutrients
waters.
going
We
in.
know more
going
about
in.
it as well. You know, like I think before we had an oxygen meter, we were just oblivious, and I think at that point the naivety means that you just crack on with it.
Yeah.
As soon as you get an oxygen meter and it drops below a certain amount, you're like, oh my god, I've got to do something
But,
about
that's
it.
it. But even you say like 25 years ago it happened less, but it probably wouldn't have been much longer than 20 years ago when the or much shorter than 20 years ago when the Black Mirror died
Yep.
in an oxygen crash.
yeah, and then that was a low stock.
That's a low.
And that's
stock
that's a
yeah.
low stock, big pit.
Yeah, that's a bit of a misconception when people think, oh, if it's a really big lake with hardly any fish in it, then there's more oxygen to go around. Like in a crash, if there's no oxygen, there's no oxygen.
Yeah.
Like regardless of like the size of the room that you're in as a human, if there's no oxygen in it, there's no oxygen, whether it's a cupboard or a ballroom. And when those big lakes, all the algae dies, the bacteria, the bacteria that eat the algae, peripherate as it dies, just completely slush, like pulling the plug on the oxygen, and it just the fish can't cope with it, and normally coincides with a thunderstorm or something like that would big pressure change, and a storm would kill off the algae, and then once that algae dies. Algae's a good thing. People think algae's a bad thing, but it's not. It's actually good for the ecosystem whilst it's alive.
Right.
And if it dies off gradually, perfect. Good for the fish. Algae provides food for loads of other little creatures and stuff. But and it puts oxygen in during the day through photosynthesis. It's putting oxygen in when the sun's out, and then it's taking oxygen out at night. It's only if it dies rapidly where it becomes a problem.
Is that the same with weed as well, guys? Isn't it? Is that weed does the same? Gives in the day, takes at night. Is that right?
Yeah. But it doesn't.
Marginal plants do the same.
Yeah,
like
but the thing with weed is that it doesn't suddenly die overnight and suck all of that oxygen out of the water. That's what the algae does.
But it's no coincidence that generally in the summer it's hard to get bites at night, because the fish aren't really wanting to feed at night because they need oxygen to help them digest their food. So if they have a belly full of food in the dark, they're going to be using up oxygen to digest the food, and they need the oxygen to stay alive. So they would tend to not eat through the night, sit and just get through the night. And then that early morning period where it's first light, classic time for getting a bite, that's where they're like, I need to eat now because I've got the longest period to digest that food, because they know if they eat at the first light, they've got all the way till last light, where there's going to be oxygen being.
Well, that's also the lowest point of oxygen in the day as well, though, isn't it?
It's at the lowest, but I think they obviously evolved. I wouldn't say intelligence, but they're evolved to know that it's the start
instinct.
Yeah, that it's at its lowest point, but therefore it's now going to build.
It's only
through
going to
the
get
day.
better. Yeah.
At first light, and what you'll see quite often is when they're sat in the weed just sunning themselves, people say, oh, they're sunbathing in the weed. They're up in the that is just like the perfect place for them to be in the daytime, because the weed is pumping loads of oxygen out through photosynthesis, and they're just sitting there literally like they've eaten early in that morning, and they're just sitting there digesting their food and just literally loving life with that oxygen. The sun's on them. There's Dylan banging around in the background as normal. Look, Dylan managed to do that, and I didn't even swear at that. So I think I'm going to be all right with this.
Not going to be donating much to charity.
Yeah, the taxman's screwed me.
I would have paid you £1 to do that. I would have paid £1 for you to go for.
The taxman's proper screwed me over in my salary this month. He's took loads of money off me, so I've got to really be on my best behaviour and not to swear.
But I think with the oxygen thing and fisheries having crashes, there's a lot more knowledge about it now, much better fishery management about it that happens now with regards to all of that. So I think actually, even though you might hear about it more, I think a lot of that is social media, because you wouldn't have necessarily heard about a lake in Cornwall having a crash previously, and also there are I think there might be too much scaremongering done with the whole low oxygen thing that can almost put people off going fishing, but it's still a perfectly okay time to go fishing as long as really you're sensible with what you're doing with the fish when they're on the bank. The actual crashes in oxygen where it goes to no oxygen and the fish that, they are few and far between. You've got to have a real
but there will be cases every year, unfortunately. Even with the best managed places, it's like you can do everything in your power, but I think as an angler, there's nothing that you can do about it. Not I think so. Well, with a bit of the scaremongering, I think people won't actually go for it. Or I'm worried that the oxygen might be a bit low. Well, they don't It's down to the fishery owner to ultimately. It's their livestock and their business. If they're happy for people to fish for their fish, then you've just got to do the fish for them, but fish for them in the safest way possible, not leaving them in a retainer for hours on end in shallow water in the middle of the night when there's no oxygen.
The
and
anglers
stuff
can
like
be the eyes as well. If they spot whilst they're there, not every fishery owner or whatever's got a bailiff that's constantly there every day, and crashes happen so quick.
Yeah.
And suddenly if there's anglers fishing the lake and say, oh, there's fish gasping on the surface, they can be eyes as well. But,
You also get people who see them gasping the surface and just dangle bread
Have
at
a
them, thinking
floater
they're thinking they're up for a mixer.
Well, you should be able to tell the difference. But, the other thing, like you said, is retaining them, In this weather, while this water's so warm, there's no excuse for having to retain a fish till it gets light these days. There's loads of companies make good photography lights. You could just use one of our photography lights, take an iPhone shot, and they're decent enough for what you need for your records these days.
Yeah.
You need to let them chill in the net for a couple of minutes whilst they recover. Quickly do the picture as fast as you can, put it back in, and let them go.
I think the tide has turned on the retaining them for a lot. I do see more night shots now on social media and stuff like that. I think that message is out there a bit more, that especially in the summer months, you can get away with it more in the autumn, winter, early spring when it's cooler temperatures, like that they will be fine. But people know about it a bit more in the summer, and I just think it's sensible.
The other one's basic care as well, isn't it? Mats and stuff like that are going to get hot. And you've got to cool them down before you put fish in them. It sounds obvious, but you might have a bucket of water
don't fill your bucket of water up.
Just leave it there all day. Yeah, you might have a bucket of water, splash it on and think that's okay. Just leave it empty, get some fresh water in it.
James at East Elf always every year in the summer puts up a thing where he fills up a bucket of water and leaves it like in the front of the swim. And within a few hours, he then puts the probe in it to see the temperature, and it's like high 20 degrees, that water temperature. Yeah.
It can be like up to sort of 10 degrees warmer than the water. Like
so
when
you're
you
better
get it
off
fresh
just
out the lake.
fill your bucket fresh just before you're going to get the fish out, rather than having it filled up waiting for hours on end.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on this actually about carp care this time of year, because I put a film out last week. We filmed with Mozza and Ben where we were doing our big sort of product shoots. We had the rods out, and I had a few comments in YouTube about it. And again, it was a few, I suppose they were kicking off, but they're just concerned anglers. And it was basically saying, I can't believe you guys were fishing for the fish in that heat, bringing the fish out on the bank in 30 degrees. So I'm like, try to explain to them, like, there is a way of doing it, and the correct way of doing it in the heat, having them out minimal time as possible, making sure everything is, as Scott said, doused in cold lake water and have everything prepped. So I just want to go over that to, it's like, as I said to the guy, I said, look at every day ticket, and they're not closing. There's hundreds of venues through France who are fishing in 40 degrees and it's having the fish out. So it's just want to
this is what I'm saying about how, like, there's a lot of scaremongering out there. And I think that and people do latch on to, and as soon as someone
people a voice.
I think
that person's never done it themselves.
No, but
it's like an opportunity just for someone to start moaning and whinging.
I'm not too sad about people moaning and whinging about like from a fish, like keeping a fish safe perspective. Like the fact that they're thinking about keeping the fish safe is good, but I also think, like you're saying, there's a way to do it, and you can fish safely, and there are countries that are a lot hotter than ours, where people are still out and catching fish, and those fish have great longevity. And you look at some of the old warriors that you catch out on those like French barrages and stuff.
I think a carp's optimum water temperature is 28 degrees. That's where they're like, that's genetically, and I'm only saying that based on stuff I've heard from Simon Scott before and people like that talk, and I'm sure it's 28 degrees. That's like the optimum temperature for the water, for them, for everything to be firing on all cylinders. If they could talk and they could choose, and you said to the carp, Mr. Carp, set the temperature of the water that you're going to live in, they'd say, put it at 28 degrees for me, please. That's when they're at their optimum. That's warm. It's very rare in the UK that you'll get 28 degrees water temperature, maybe a few days in a year.
I do know a place in Shropshire. Yeah. There is a place in Shropshire that's constantly the same level for these carp.
Oh, yeah.
All hails these places.
It's a swimming
loving life.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think if I'd be interested if you went into a lake that's really weedy, the fish will be sat on the top of the weed. Quite often their back will be out of the water, getting the sun like beat. You see it, they go all white and crusty, don't they? Where they literally like have their backs and their shoulders out of the water.
Yeah.
So they're obviously happy sitting right up in that, and the water temperature right there, because the weed's dark, so it's absorbing heat. That's probably going to be 30 degrees on a really hot day. So when if you're taking them out in the shade, like for a quick photo, and then getting them back really quick, I don't think you're going to be, you're putting them in
cooler than the direct
yeah,
sun.
you're not, you're not putting them under too much stress. Yeah. But I think wherever possible, if the margins are shallow and you can do stuff in the water, like say safely for you as an angler, because the angler safety's got to be important as well. Then yeah, I think it would make sense to not even get them out. Just do your stuff in the water like you do on a lot of venues where they say you have to do it with big uns, but do it with all fish if those are the conditions. I see a video of Tom Aker the other day at linear fishing in really hot temperatures, and he was just unhooking some of the fish in the margin in the height of the day, and then once the sun went down and it was a bit cooler, he got them out on the bank and saw some on the bank.
Yeah, it's just common sense, isn't it? Really,
yeah.
It's not like you say. When we go back to the unhooking mats, I have seen it where people have not out the water and they're putting it straight. I saw you take your socks off and go and stand on it with your bare foot when the sun of 34 degrees has been beating down on that hot rubber all day. It is
that's it. Keep your mat under your bed chair or in the shade or whatever.
Help with the longevity of it as well. If you leave it out in the sun all the time, blaring, it's gonna it's gonna get UV down. Degradation or whatever. So save yourself some pennies by keeping it in the shade and.
For me, apart from May, I don't think there's a better time to be fishing than I think the period that we're coming into now, like August. I think like these days is just spot on.
Yeah,
the fish are feeding. Yeah. They're not at their top weights, but they're getting back there. They're getting back up, and you can catch them doing almost anything you like, off the top, in the margin, stalking, out over loads of bait. There's so many amazing fishing opportunities right now, and and
you get to see them. This is the thing, you get to see your target fish. You see it up close and personal more than ever now when people, I know there's going to be some who have a go, drones, but they're such a fantastic tool to see your quarry at close quarters. And
you should put £1 in the swear box.
Did I?
Yeah, said drone.
Really? Yeah. Okay, right.
Yeah. I've got chili in my ear telling me that was a swear word.
Chili would have just put in about 5 then.
It's amazing how quickly they recover after spawning. And this year there's loads of lakes where they've gone 3, 4, 5 times even. But it's amazing how quickly they stick that weight back on again. When we started supplementing them years ago after spawning, giving them some barley and some supplementary bait, it's the nutrients and everything from the bait that helps them to recover quickly. And once they've recovered sort of their scars and things and wounds that they've made, that then goes into growing. And it's amazing how quickly they stick the weight back on, after spawning. And I think we said it before, these days the amount of bait that's out there that's good quality bait anyway, and the fish are getting fish for in the height of summer. They're getting what they need quicker, and they're whacking their weight back on quicker than they were years ago. We're getting weights now back end of August that we used to get in October, because they just seem to recover so much quicker. Yeah. So it is a great time to go.
My
just be conscious of the
again from Simon Scott. I'm no expert, but I am a student of listening to a lot of podcasts with people like Simon talking around fishing and fish farming, etc. My understanding is when they spawn, about 3 weeks after spawning, they start to reproduce their eggs. So when they go on the big feed after spawning, they have a requirement for protein, because they need the protein to create the yolk for the eggs. So that when they're building a lot of weight back up after spawning, a lot of that is the fact that they're just producing eggs again. And I think by about October time, he said, they're full of eggs again.
Yeah.
So if the water temperature was right, they could spawn in October. Could spawn in October. It's just because the water's too cool.
Right.
That the hormones and stuff aren't triggering with the males and the females to to get on with it, but they would be full. So when they're plump and big in the autumn, it's not because they've got a belly full of boilies, like they eat a boilie, they poop it out. They process 20 or 30% of the protein and poop it out. So they're getting that skeletal growth that Scott's on about, like through eating. They want to eat all that high protein food to produce their eggs. That high protein food is helping them in warm water because they're at optimum temperature. It's 20 odd degrees water temperature now in the summer. Their skeletal growth's growing, so their spine's getting longer. Everything's getting actually physically bigger. They're producing the eggs, so because they've got a bit longer and they've produced more eggs, they're at like their best weight come the back end of the year.
Well, obviously, so like that's talking about females. I'd be interested to know what the science is behind the males, because like they also grow, and that
the weight drops aren't as much, are they? Females.
No. The weight drops aren't as much, but they do also like the summer and into the autumn is when they put a lot of.
But the male, I'm guessing at this, we need to do a podcast where we get somebody like Simon or equivalent of expertise on, because I think it'd be quite interesting.
Yeah.
My pure guess, would be the female goes through way more stress in spawning than the male does. The female's the one that's getting pounded, drops all the eggs, and then has got to concentrate on reproducing the eggs. The male, he's done his bit, and then he's on the feed, and all of that, majority of that food is being converted into growth rather than repair. It's normally the females that will have the cuts on them and stuff where they've been pushed up against, a sunken tree or whatever to squeeze the eggs out. The male is normally bouncing against other fish rather than structure. It's the female that's getting pushed up against the structure to get the eggs out. So maybe the male's done his business and he
now needs to get hench for next year.
Yeah,
he's on the protein shakes, isn't he?
And he's just getting those extra few weeks where the female's repairing and starting to produce eggs. He's just growing. He's getting the longest. It'd be interesting with those big males that get, like the Westmore big one. That's got history. It seems to always be bigger in the summer than it is in the spring, and it'd be interesting to measure it, whether it's actually growing in length and girth, like around its.
As you said about what Simon said, I had a similar conversation with somebody probably only last week actually, and it surprised me that person was like, "Oh, well, they get it over and done with early, and that's it, and that's good." I'm like, "What do you mean?" Well, once they've got it all out and it's done and it's get over early, that's way better for them. I was like, no, because if they do it early, they'll start producing eggs again, and then they'll go again at another point in time. Is that really? I was like, yeah.
Is that the same ones? Do the same ones go twice, or is it just that now we've got so many different strains of fishing?
They
not
can,
saying they do, but
which is why in really warm countries like Spain or America or whatever, Australia, why they breed in such proliferation and then become a problem, like in the rivers and stuff where in Australia and Spain where they've just bred and bred and bred, because they can spawn multiple times, because they start like early April in Spain probably when they can first spawn, then they've built some eggs back up, then there's another randy male group that want to have a bit, so they could go a few times and later into the year. But I think on the whole, my guess would be on modern lakes now where there's active stocking policies, you've got different either groups of fish from different fish farms or different ages, and your multiple spawnings on the whole in this country are probably from different ages of fish getting on with it.
But interestingly, one of the lakes on a ticket I've got, they have started spawning again like 2 days ago. It's quite a deep lake, like 20 or 25 foot deep. They have spawned, but I felt like the back end of July is a really late time for any of that sort of activity to go on in the UK.
Did they go early?
They were.
This could be
late May, early June.
It might be a second time for some of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
I think on the whole, like on some of the lakes I fish, you've got the older fish, the really old, like the 30, 40-year-old ones. They seem to be anywhere up to a month later than the younger ones. Like the younger stockfish seem to go, and then the old originals go like 2 to 4 weeks later. Generally, it can be a bit annoying because the lake will shut as soon as spawning starts, and it's all the stockies that are spawning, but that's it. It's shut now for whatever 6 weeks, and then in that period of time, the originals will go a few weeks later, and you'd have had another opportunity. But ultimately, it's good.
I think that's the best way anyway.
It's good for the
those
health.
fish are as vulnerable just before spawning as they are after spawning, and I think as fisheries we should shut just before they spawn and give them ample time to recover and then open afterwards, because people they're spawning. No, well so yesterday when they weren't spawning, you were all right to fish for them, but now because they're spawning, does that mean you're not all right to fish for them? They were equally susceptible the day before you caught them because they're full and they're ready to go. So that's just my opinion that we should protect them just before they go, not actually when they go.
Yeah, but then
Maybe
that's obvious. I think your venue, you can pretty much get that down to a pretty fine art. They're pretty regular. They're always within the same sort of week period on there. But I don't think that's necessarily the case on all venues.
Some places, I think it's really like clockwork. Grenville used to be. I don't know what it's been like in the last 5 years or so, but I remember when I was there before, Paul could pretty much predict within the day because he takes the water temperature every day and he records the spawning over multiple years. Pictures always says that his lake will always go on the same date every year regardless of the weather.
Yeah.
So I think there's definitely something in it because it isn't just temperatures. There's light levels involved in it as well. I think as well.
Was it last year they went really early?
Yeah.
Was last year they went? And people were like, "Whoa, how come they're suddenly spawning?"
Yeah.
It really took people by surprise last year.
You got to remember as well, you don't need the whole water temperature to be the optimum temperatures. If they're swimming around in the top foot, it's only the top foot that needs to be consistently 18 degrees for them to go.
They'll go.
And that's like these deep lakes where you feel it's really deep. They'll be later. Sometimes, if the fish are just like magnets.
If the reeds are 17 degrees, then
they just.
But so you say from a fishery point of view, you think it would be better to shut like a week before they spawn. How do you currently do that?
No.
And no. So why don't you currently do that?
Because it ain't solely my decision.
You got to try and get a balance, haven't you?
Yeah,
because
you have.
You've got to keep the fishermen ultimately the guys who are paying to be there. And if you close the lake for too long, especially if it's an expensive ticket, then people are going to be annoyed that they're not getting value from.
But years ago, we had a closed season, and then when we opened up without a closed season, the ticket was still the same price. So they got extra fishing. So that was benefit to them. But I kind of swinging back. I'd like closed seasons, but I think the traditional
do we think we might be being maybe that's being oversensitive? It was a quid.
I admitted it.
Did you swear? I missed that.
Yeah.
I said poop, but the S word. Although I did notice earlier on how you used poop several times.
Note it down.
I've written these down now.
Scott owes £2 now.
2?
Yes.
You can't say that first one.
Yes, definitely.
Oh, man alive.
It should be a double fine for him making the accusation that I swore when I didn't, to be fair.
Well, I still think that
I've
was
turned
a swear,
into potty mouth, have I? And he's sitting there
I
like
think
an
it's
angel.
£3 so far for this pod.
Yeah.
Lewis is debatable. We'll let the listeners decide if there's one owed from Lewis.
And then crucify
whilst we're
me
talking
for
about
saying what he
this
did.
sort of topic, I ain't swearing on this sort of topic.
I can't remember what we're up to now.
Well, I'm going to try and keep this obviously summer themed as well. We've had a lot of questions from the syndicate that I want to put to you guys as well. One being, Harry touched on it then, there's so many different methods this time of year. You can pretty much fish any method and you can catch fish. One that people keep asking about, tips and advice from you guys, is floater fishing. I'm not the best floater angler. I'll put my hands up. It's probably my weakest point.
That must be bad.
Yeah, it is. I'm not a good floater
I'd like
angler.
to see that.
Yeah, I would. But yeah, so I just want to touch on tips, hook baits, and how would you go about setting up the perfect floater setup, if you like? What's your go-to?
Who's going to go
Anyone
on this
who wants to
first?
chip in on this? Who's a good floater?
I used to love floater fishing. I just don't get the opportunity to do it as much these days.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, I was down the lake the other day whilst we were shooting, we were doing some work, and they looked like they were a sucker for floaters that day. In fact, we'll watch one go along and take, might have been a crane fly or something off the top. Literally, they were like
Well, that's where that lake's where my surface
exactly.
PB is from.
But I haven't done it for a long time, but I think Harry probably does more floater fishing than any of us. So over to you, H.
I'd say so. My floater fishing hasn't changed probably for 15 years.
Yeah,
because I think that I've honed it.
Yeah.
I've honed it down. Like you might change hook baits and things depending on what the fish are doing, but feeding a mix of small pellets and larger ones, so like 6 mil floating pellets, sometimes even 4 mil.
Do you use any oils in that, or just as they are?
So I'd tip all my pellets into the bucket. So 100% 6 mils and like 11 mils, the sort of floating trout pellets that you can get pretty much anywhere. I'd put them into a bucket. I would glaze them with something like salmon oil, and like they'd soak that up. And then if it is windy, I will be, before I'm either putting them out with a catapult or putting them out in the spom, I will be pouring oil onto them as well, like a drop onto them just to flatten off the surface. If it's not windy, you don't need to.
Right.
And I use a XL bolt bubble. Doesn't matter how far out I'm fishing, always an XL bolt bubble. That gives me the ability to cast beyond I can fish with that up to probably 100, 110 yards, something like that. Yeah. So I can fish it at range.
That's a quid. I'm having a quid for
Bloody
that.
hell.
Yeah, that's a swear word.
Bloody. Is it?
Can't
I
do
think
that.
no.
One.
I don't
together,
think.
when
I
you put
don't,
it together, that's blasphemy, mate. You can't be doing that.
I think that's all. I wouldn't write that down.
Them XL bolt bubbles
are
the ones that we sell the least. Probably discontinued again now because we get to a certain level and they have to go discontinued. I don't understand why. I think people are scared because they're so big, but they're all, like you say, you can cast them further so you can drag them too. But also it's the bigger surface area, it creates a bolt on the surface. Yeah. They're the ones to use, but sales seem to sort of say no.
Yeah, well, they are. They're definitely the ones to use. Like Scott says, they create it's the bigger surface area of the float, so they create a bigger bolt. From that end as well, I won't fish a hook length longer than about 2 foot. Traditionally, I think, and a lot of people use hook lengths of 6 foot, maybe even longer, trying to get the hook bait away from the float. Half the time they're trying to eat the float.
I was going to say, people used to do that, and then you'd have floaters along the line, and they'd be eating the ones next to the line. So it was like,
they try and eat the float. So it really doesn't matter. So yeah, 2 foot, 18 inches, something like that, and you'll see them take the hook bait, and even before you've had an opportunity to strike, they've bolted and hooked themselves. So a lot of the time, I'll have my rod on the floor and just be concentrating on feeding them rather than worrying about what the hook bait's doing. That also allows me in certain situations, and certainly when I've done competitions and that, I'll quite happily fish with 2 rods on the surface. Double your chances. It allows you to make sure that you've always got one rod in play in like the perfect position, because if you've got a bit of a drift on, you'll always have one that's in a better position than the other, and you can always cast the other rod upwind of where the fish are feeding and allow it to drift onto them. So yeah, I like to. That's again when it's a bit higher stock. I won't necessarily do that on lower stock venues, and something that a lot of places, especially in the sort of south of England, you got to contend with is gulls. That
there is gulls in the Midlands and the North.
But I think particularly
the northern gulls are preoccupied by gravy. So
well, actually, we've got a film going out. Is it next week with Max? He does a bit of floater fishing, and he has to deal with the gulls on that, doesn't he? I think.
That's Farlow's and Linear. You just got this gull central on there, and that's going to gulls. Right, are probably the thing that have stopped floater fishing being a popular method more than anything else. People just don't like doing it because they'll put a spod of mixers out or a pouch full of mixers, and the gulls straight away will be on them. There are couple of things that you can do. One is persevere, because if you keep feeding them, like you might have a swarm of like 20, 30, 40 gulls on you at one point. It might look like absolute death out there in terms of carp. And
try and feed them elsewhere and they'll get to that. Yeah, that doesn't work. Trying to feed them elsewhere doesn't work. They'll get to a point where they're full up. Right. And the pellets will expand in their stomachs. They'll get to a point where they're full up, and they'll just
leave you. They'll feed them off almost.
They'll leave you alone. Yeah. The other thing is leaving a line across where you're fishing, like if you can get that line elevated. So if you can chuck a rod onto the far bank, generally like with braid, so it's a bit more visual. If you could chuck a rod onto the far bank and prop your rod up in the air so that there's a line going across, that is like perfect. Obviously, we had Dave Lane on talking about his having his dead seagull out. So if people want to find out more about floater fishing and want to try that, watch Dave's podcast, because that's absolutely brilliant. And he says that that's mega effective. I'm sure it is. But also, if you can't get a rod to the far bank, having a spod just cast way past where you're fishing, braid floating on the surface, they don't like it and they will leave you alone.
Right. Okay.
You know, with that, obviously that'll drift, so you'll have to keep rechucking that as well. Hook baits, pellets straight out the bag are good. They're probably the most consistent hook bait, like a pellet that's just like match the hatch exactly the same as what you're feeding.
I've seen that. There's that. Did you see Moz's trick with the hook bait and the bait floss and pulling it through the hook bait and sort of blobbing it off? So the hook is sort of, I think he did it on, it might have been the DNA page he did this on. I think it's where you sort of push the baiting needle through and put bait floss on the hook and then pull that through and then blob it off. So you've got bait floss running through, if you like, the pop-up or whatever. So your hook is always then, you're not having to super glue it on or hook it on. It's
do you mean floss. Do you mean attached like the old way of doing a shot on the hook?
Yeah, basically that way.
But tight on the back of the
tight on the back, so he can either. So it's almost the hook then. So the bait sits on the surface, and the hook bait is up at the staring at the ceiling, if you like. It's that sort of method.
Yeah, I used to use the Enterprise ones that have the shot in the bottom and the hook goes on top. I'm not a fan of top lip hooking them.
Yeah. Right,
I'm not a fan. It's not as strong a piece of flesh to hook them from. I'd much rather hook them in the bottom lip, so I prefer having my hook down. That does mean it's slightly more visual, so you need to use small hooks, like the size 10 zig and floater is absolutely perfect. If I'm having to cast a lot, your pellet hook bait will be like you have to change them quite regularly. So you can use a pop-up. If the fish are going for it enough, you can get away with using a pop-up trim down.
Yeah.
If they're not, if they're being a bit cagey, then a match the hatch pellet. And if they're really preoccupied on your small floaters, then a tiny piece of 6mm by 6mm piece of cork soaked in like salmon oil is absolutely killer.
Right.
I think the key with the hook bait is some people just like they're going for pellet, they'll trim down the hook bait, chuck it out, the pellet's sitting on the surface, but the hook bait's sitting right out on the surface and they're completely different buoyancies, and they're sucking them in it or mouthing the little ones, whatever, and then if something's too buoyant, it just moves around.
Yeah.
So I think it's essential to get the sort of the balance and the buoyancy of the hook bait.
Yeah, you can get away with using pop-ups trimmed down in a lot of circumstances, particularly earlier in the year. We're probably a little bit past that now.
Yeah,
where they're not quite as much of a sucker for it, and you've got to be a bit cuter. So yeah, I mean, with the hook baits, it's like any fishing. You've got to experiment, but yeah, I don't think there's anything else.
Tell you what worked for me years ago, floater fishing. I floater fished at night in the dark.
Ah,
and it is hugely underrated.
Yes.
People just think that it's the
we've all
surface
done that at times.
in the day and that's it. And I was floater fishing in the dark, and I was fishing a water that's really quiet anyway, and you can hear the difference between them taking freebies and taking your hook bait. And if they don't just take your hook bait and whiz off and your free spool's going zzz, or your clutch is going or whatever, you can hear the difference.
Jeez.
If you tune in and listen to them, you can hear them take hook baits, and you can hear them take freebies, and as soon as you take that hook bait, there's just a different sound. They spook, they move. You can hear it differently before it goes.
I think if you're fishing something like a bolt bubble and a short hook link where it's self hooking, back in the day, you were striking at seeing the fish take the hook bait, you'd fish right up until you can't see the hook bait anymore, and it was getting better. The fishing's getting better and better right up until you can't see the hook bait, and then you're just like, oh well, it's time to chuck me rods out on the bottom because I can't see.
Me and Pitchers won a British Carp Championship qualifier floater fishing at night. We drew a bad peg on the Q Lake, which is no longer a fishing lake. It's been turned into wild swimming, sadly. But it's a mega cool lake. It's just a circle. Everybody fishes on the island and fished out. Really fair lake. But we were in one of the areas that was pretty pants, and there wasn't much going on. And we had I think we had 4 rods. I think you was allowed to use 2 rods each on that venue in the BCAC. So I think we got our 4 rods out on the bottom, and we're pretty down in the dumps. We ain't had any bites off the bottom, and it's not looking great. I just sat there and I said to Mark, I'd seen a thing about Martin Clark floater fishing on Elstow at night and catching fish. So I said, should we just put a pouch of mixers out? We just sat there in the dark.
Mixers.
He's gone on. So we just literally put a couple of pouches of mixers, carried on having a brew, and then it was like, you're like,
was that you drinking your brew?
Yeah. You're like,
it's a bit hot,
did you hear? Was that? And then, like, they're having it. They're having it. A few more pouches out there. They're starting to go for it. So then we had the dilemma: do we reel in 1 or 2 of our bottom rods? Because you wouldn't be able to fish more than 4 rods. That would be breaking the rules. Or do we break the rules?
We know what you went for.
So
it's a good job we never won, or I'd be coming back now.
Given the rods were nicely positioned on the bottom and it was dark, and you wouldn't get them back out as good as you would have done, we both picked up our floater rods from our rod bags and decided to fish
with 6 instead of
rods.
4.
So
no cheating ever went on in the BCAC.
So we've cast out, and literally you've got your bolt bubble, your short hook link, like Harry says, it's self hooking. You hear, like Scott says, you hear them feeding, and then you just hear this slightly different sound that you think, was that the bait? And then you hear the sort of and then the clutch. Zzz. So if I hooked one or Mark hooked one, we'd reel the other rod in really quickly, throw that behind the bivvy.
Yeah.
We would be dead silent, play it, land it, unhook it, put the floater rod behind the bivvy, go up to the marshal, wake them up. Sorry, mate, we've got fish. He'd come, weigh the fish, put it back.
Not letting them know what you were up to at all.
You don't need
right.
to.
For 2 reasons. One, we were cheating because we had extra rods, which wasn't great. But also, we didn't want the other anglers to know what we were doing, because this was the first night of a 2-night match. So then what we did, luckily our marshal snored. So we were able to wait until we heard get the catapult out, fire some more pellets, get them feeding, catch another one.
Brilliant.
Rods back behind the bivvy, go down. And we had, I can't remember, we weren't loads, but it was like maybe 4 or 5 fish in the night doing it, floater fishing like that.
Did you qualify?
We qualified, yeah. The second night, I think some of the other competitors cottoned on that they'd heard catapult going, heard floaters. They'd never cottoned on to the fact that we had 6 rods. And I think, I might be wrong, it was a long time ago, I think after a couple of free fish, we thought, well, we're catching them off the top, we don't need to cheat anymore. So we wound in 2 of the bottom rods because we didn't need, that wasn't worth taking the risk now. We were catching them.
If you'd have wound in all 4, then the net would have been even, so you probably got away with not
but
morally
as
cheating.
I'm a big believer in karma, and later on in that event, in the competition at a later stage, we
found out.
No, we never got caught. But yeah, we never won it. Because cheats don't prosper ultimately. So I would never encourage anybody.
It's a good moral
to cheat.
story.
Yeah,
it is.
But I'd say obviously you had informed me about that, and a few years later I had a qualifier on there where I caught fish off the top at night.
But you were party to knowledge of his cheating as well.
I can't. Well, he didn't tell me to
fish 6 rods.
To fish 6 rods. He just told me to fit. But also. And I know people are going to go, oh, it's Drayton, but at Drayton,
it's Drayton.
When Alexi and I fished in the Eric's Carp semi-final, and we absolutely totaled it. A lot of those fish were caught float fishing at night, but that was a little bit different. We were doing a spodicopter at night because you never. The fish in Drayton fed in pods, and because you never quite, if you were spodding, you never really knew where the pod of fish would be. To get a really nice load of pellets around your hook bait, we'd fish with, those, I don't know whether they still do them, the little tiny quarter
Skyrocket.
Skyliners or whatever, the mini ones. So you'd fish with those sort of safely wedged onto a anti-tangle sleeve with a swivel, have a relatively long hook link because it would be going under the water. It wouldn't be like a float. It wouldn't be floating because the spawn would really penetrate. So you'd have a relatively long hook link, and you'd put 4 mil pellets in the spod, and they just slowly drip out of the holes at the top of the spod. And that was that. Like, you'd fish with the bolt bubble during the day because you could cast directly to the fish, and then you do that at night. They never cast very far, like 25 yards is about the max you could get them.
Such a great method. You never hear that anymore being used, do you? That's
I think you could use that method on a lot of places and really catch a lot of fish.
The venue I was doing it at night wasn't a highly stocked venue. It was a tough venue, but at night you could just catch them off the top because nobody else was doing it. It was great. I could catch 2 in an evening where people might struggle to catch 2 in a month. Nice. But it's not just about venues that are highly stocked. Just try it. See what you got. Nothing to lose. Give it a go. See what happens. But
Very
it's just
dry,
something.
these cakes.
They are dry.
Very dry.
It's worth doing. Mate. It's worth trying. It's worth trying.
I'll get you some gravy, Lou. Don't worry. I want to move on to a lot of people was asking this as well. I did a live last night on the syndicate, doing some competitions. And
Dean, sorry.
Yeah,
I've got a mouthful of cake now. Can I just give a little insight
unmute
on the
at
floater?
start. Yeah,
a little tip. Feed little and often when floater fishing on the surface.
Create competition.
Yeah, 2 reasons. By feeding little and often, the fish get used to that sound of it plopping on. It's associated with food, and it brings more in. But also,
especially when you're juggling 6 rods,
the fresher the pellets are, like straight out of the bucket, a bag, or the cat biscuits, whatever you're using. Ideally, you want the fish to eat them quickly so that they're still hard.
Yeah.
Because when they then suck them in, they go to their pharyngeal teeth and they chew them, and they make a crunching sound because they aren't soggy. And that sound really transmits underwater. Again, there's a film, Fresh Thinking film, that Moira Mann, a BBC producer, made years ago, and they put a microphone in the water and was able to listen to fish, carp eating tiger nuts, pellets and stuff. Fresh, dry pellets really crunch a lot. And I'm a big believer that little and often, so the fish are then taking them literally as they're hitting the surface. They're not soggy. They're eating them. They're crunching. That crunch is making other fish nearby thinking I'm missing out. And carp have the fear of missing out. They suffer from FOMO massively when it comes to food. They don't want to miss out on the party that's going on. So that crunch, and more and more activity. So rather than just lorruping in 2 kilo of floaters, chucking a bolt bubble and letting it drift around, and then that's it, my job's done, wait for a fish. Take that 2 kilos and spread it out as a pouch every couple of minutes over a certain period of time, and I think you'll give yourself a chance of catching multiple fish off the top.
There's never been a more visual way of actually angling for fish, because
it's great.
You're watching what's going on. Like Lou said, then I need to top up the bait now. You don't get that on the bottom. So I remember people used to say years ago, oh, they don't count off the top. Why not? Yeah. They're actually, you're actually probably using more angling skills trying to catch one off the top than you are just lobbing a solid bag out on the bottom. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, definitely. No, to build on well, Lewis
should have just been a podcast about floater fishing.
Lewis just reminded me of it. There are lots of venues where you'll get people go, oh, they don't take off the top, and they don't, and yes, there are venues where at first getting them to take up off the top is difficult, and you could quite easily try once. You get floaters drifting over the fish and then drifting over them, and they're just not taking them, and you get they don't like them. That could be multiple reasons. It could be the conditions, it could be the time of day, it could be that they're not used to them, especially nowadays where you've got quite a lot of stockies that have never seen or had to survive by eating things off the surface because they've just had pellets dropping down to the bottom. They've never actually had to do it. So if you're committed enough and you're going to go back to somewhere numerous times, you can teach them to eat off the top. And if you can get one fish to take one, you will be able to teach the whole stock to take off the surface. And I truly, truly believe that. A lake that I fished just recently, I was drifting floaters over these fish, and they weren't taking them. I moved a few swims up, and there was 2 fish out of about 6 that were considerably bigger and obviously older fish that have been in the lake a bit longer than these little stockies. And those 2 fish both started taking, not loads, they just take the odd one, but they started taking. And then the little fish were then looking like, what's going on? They're obviously doing it. And then one of the little fish started taking as well. I only had a few hours, so it kind of ended. I didn't actually get a chance to catch them, but that told me that there's opportunities here. I'm not going to give up. Like, I can teach these fish. And I did it on a river years and years ago.
Oh, that is next level carpiness. Floater fishing on a river. Oh my word.
I in the close season,
Oh, no!
I didn't finish the story.
This is worse than Lewis admitting he cheated in a BJC.
There we go. The next in a long line of anglers committed.
That's it. Don't let him finish the story. That's it. It's the end of the podcast.
No, I was baiting up this river, and I'd take a bag of boilies, and I'd take my floaters with me, and I'd bait my spot with my boilies, and at the top of the stretch, I'd throw in a load of floaters, and I'd throw in the floaters first, walk round, bait up my spot, and then I'd walk back. And the first day, like nothing happened. A few days later, managed to get one, having a few. By June the 16th, by June the 16th, every time I threw the floaters in, they'd drift about 5 yards, and the carp were taking them.
Right.
And yeah, I first day of the season, caught a lovely 22-pounder off the top.
Smallest one he had that close season.
Loads in May.
Yeah, I've been proper stitched up there, haven't I?
It is, especially if he cuts it right in the head.
In the close season, just to finish up on the floater, then I'm just only because of watching Max's film that's coming out with I think is it this weekend or next weekend. He had the fish going. When is the opportunist time to get that hook bait out? Because Max was saying not yet,
June the 14th.
But do you know what I mean? I've seen where the fish are taking them, but anglers have held back and waited for that perfect time. When do you think that is?
Go on.
Sorry. So
during the time I cheated at Q Lake,
if you can be this patient, in my experience, when they start feeding quite competitively, they naturally like spook for no reason.
Yeah.
And they'll be feeding
Spook
and
each other.
And then and then all of a sudden one will just sort of like make a big eruption and sort of like I was going to swear, but I won't. Poop themselves. Right. When that happens, if their friends carry on feeding straight away, that's at the point where I'm thinking, right, the other ones are now in that sort of zone of
that
like,
zone.
I'm on it. That's when then I would then feel like I could get away with casting past them and sort of inching the float back in. Because if one or two do spook, the rest will just think, oh, that's Barry just being a wimp, like or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And
I've got a pool at home with some special babies that I'm growing in carp, not humans, and not a mad scientist. I feed them floaters every day, multiple times a day. Have done since like probably late March. As soon as there was a bit of sun in the air,
someone was in the office working.
They have it, and they will just randomly spook for no reason and kick up loads of water, but the others just don't care anymore. Like they've never been fished for on the top. Obviously, these ones they're just getting fed on the top all the time. But you see it in a fishing situation as well. If you get in that thing where one or two just like you say, they spook each other. The floaters move weirdly, or something just like catches them. They just almost expecting that there's something amiss because they've been caught off the top before, and they can't believe all this free. All this. Who's giving me all this free food? Come on, guys, what's the catch? So that for me is like a telltale sign. Don't cast your bolt too early.
I'd totally agree with what Lewis said, just with a caveat of there are certain venues where you almost might never get to that point because of how many fish are in there, and you do have to work it out what's best to do. You might. I remember I fished on a lake where you never quite got them to that stage. And they'd always, whenever you turned up in a new swim where they were, they'd feed best straight away. And like if you fed them for more than 10 minutes, they'd just go totally off the boil, and you wouldn't even have cast out, and you'd have missed your chance. So obviously it takes a little. You got to get a bit of experience, have a little bit of sort of angling in it. Don't just always wait for that to happen, because it might not ever happen.
We should carry on this floater fishing thing, because there's so much. Like,
there's loads, isn't there?
Another really good thing that I learnt this from pictures years ago was being able to feed the fish whilst you're playing one on the top as well with a throwing stick. Like Mark would be able to hook the fish, he'd be playing it, and then he'd have the bucket of floaters next to him, and with the throwing stick he could scoop a few in, whoosh, put them out, and that again was a killer method of them fish continuing to compete. And you could literally hook one of their friends, pull them out of the shoal, as it were, play them, and keep feeding them. And the others were just like, they didn't care their mates, God, because they're still eating. That was a really good thing that I've used in good effect. Another thing that's worth mentioning as well is the size of the floaters that you're feeding, because if you use too big a floater, there's only a certain amount of capacity inside the fish. They don't have stomachs, but they have like an intestinal line. The food goes through this like production line, it's digested, and then it's pooped out the other end. Yeah. So let's like chucking random numbers. Say there's enough room to fit 100 12 mil pellets in there, which they will swell up with water inside them. So that 12 mil all of a sudden becomes 15 mil. If there's a room for 100 of them, then there's room for 200 6 mils that will swell up. I don't know the exact match, but you get my point.
Yeah.
So therefore, you can keep them in the swim, feeding for longer. Like Harry said, that lake where he fished where they didn't feed for very long. I don't know the size of the pellets he was using, the size of the fish, etc. But maybe they just get him full quite quickly, swelling up, and you need them to then pass the stuff out to keep feeding. So maybe, another tip is to use the smallest you can get away with for the distance that you're fishing at.
The good thing with floater fishing is you get very quick feedback because it's so visual. You can see what the fish. It's like underwater. It's like underwater fishing.
Yeah.
You can see what they're doing, so you can change accordingly. And like it in a similar way with boilie fishing. Often it's easiest to hook them if you can get them feeding solely on 11mm pellets. Often that's the easiest way, but you might be feeding just 11mm pellets and they're not really going for it. They're just taking the odd one, and if you introduce those 6mm or those smaller ones, all of a sudden they totally drop their guard. I mean, I think that's a similar thinking to how I like to use like really small micro pellet and stuff. I just think they prefer it.
Yeah, you said that, like going on to the underwater, when you put the small pellets in, it kept the fish in the swim for longer, grubbing about little bits. And I guess it's the same up the top as well. Smaller bits keeps them there for longer, sort of thing. So, yeah, but it's a great method, and it's like, and you don't have to commit 24 hours. You can go after work and have a few hours and get your fishing fit.
This is it. Yeah, that's also in the summer with the like how hot it is. The best times, I can't believe we haven't mentioned this. The best times. Evenings, we know, early morning. Yeah. If you can get up at the crack of dawn and start feeding floaters, just at the time when you think, they're going to be feeding on the bottom, if I'm going to be floater fishing, I'll wait until 10, 11 o'clock. Get them floaters out. They are absolutely deadly first thing in the morning.
Used to fish at a syndicate lake where a lot of the anglers, old school anglers, didn't like floater fishing, and they were of the brigade of they don't count off the top.
Right.
But the main reason they hated floater fishing was because floaters don't, unlike boilies or sinking pellets or particles that you put in your swim and it stays in your swim, floaters have a tendency to float and drift.
Yeah.
And on that particular lake, there was a couple of keen floater anglers who would get up at the crack of dawn, fire out kilos and kilos of dog biscuits, which would then drift into the old school anglers who are fishing on the bottom, waiting for their bite off the bottom, and the whole stock is Pac-Man-ing floaters over the top of their rigs. And they deemed it to be bad etiquette because this person or these people who were floater fishing were now impacting their fishing, which I can kind of understand, but it's tricky because how do you can't stop the floaters from floating and drifting.
Yeah.
I would embrace it. Sorry, I should say I would. I did embrace it by chucking a single hook bait out on the surface many times and nicking the fish that had drifted in to my... I'd wake up like...
I think that's good.
Massive hour and a half after first light. Should have had a bite by now. Look at... they're all Pac-Manning on somebody else's floaters in front of me swim.
Have a bit of that.
Single up, mate. Bosh. Thank you very much.
I used to fish, when I lived up north, I used to fish the canal. And,
did you catch off the top in the canal?
Yeah. There's a few
top
wides.
Harry's River.
And there's a few wides on the canal. And basically in the day, with all the boat traffic, like marinas, in the day, the fish would be in the wides. And then at night, they would venture out into the narrows between the canal. And we used to catch them first thing in the morning on floaters when they're on the way back in to the wide. So at the mouth of each end of the wide, one of us sit there, throw a few floaters in the main canal, not actually in the wide. Especially there was one particular wide that was like proper gnarly. It had walls in it and stuff, and they almost had to go over a wall. It was only like the water was that deep on the top to get into the wide behind, and you could see them coming in and out. But so to catch them in the main canal was a lot easier because you had less chance of cut-offs of going them in the wall. So we just used to fish in the canal first thing in the morning on floaters, and you could just stick them in the middle of the main canal, not on the near margins or anything. The fish were just coming back into the wide. They'd take a few floaters. You'd have a couple. You'd see the odd back go over through the walls into the wide. Floater fishing's done. Right, took the rods back out.
But that's it. It's almost like the bite time is really just the same as fishing on the bottom, and the best times are just the same as fishing on the bottom. but yeah, you're fishing on the top, and most people will want to keep their bottom rods in position because it's bite time.
Yeah,
but actually, they've got a better chance on the top. Somewhere like Bluebell, that complex is renowned for like early morning floater fishing, and if you're up before anyone else, you can really reap the rewards.
Fair play.
Effort in it.
Yeah.
Put a bit of effort in, like you say. You don't need to commit to a full night camping, sticking 3 rods out. You can go down a few hours in the evening floater fishing, and you don't necessarily need to get your swim right straight away, because if they're not there and not on the top and you can't get on floaters, moving to another swim.
If you haven't fished in like 3 or 4 different swims, have you even been floater fishing?
I don't know if I've told this story before the podcast, so I apologise if I have, but my good friend Dave Moncaster, who we have as a Fox sponsored angler, his surface PB is 42 pounds.
Jeez, fair one.
And that came about because I was floater fishing on our syndicate lake at the time, Bundy's, and I had them really going Pat Manning. This was in the early days after I'd learnt from Mark about throwing stick in and keeping the fish feeding.
Yeah.
And I'd had a few bites, and I'd had a good un, and
He waited until your bait drifted.
No. So Dave had come down to do an overnighter. Doesn't do any floater fishing. And I was like, oh, you couldn't just do a quick picture, could I, mate? So he took me a photo, and I'd had, I think, 5 fish. I said, have a cast. They're literally Pat Manning. He went, I said, mate, I've had loads of bites. What's it matter? Just have a cast. So he's gone, all right then. So he's cast this bolt bubble. He's gone miles past where the fish were. And I've gone, all right, Terry Edmonds, like, what are you doing? Right. And he went, the big uns always feed off the pack. I was like, yeah, all right. So I carried on sorting some stuff out, and I've had I'm in. I was like, what? Like, literally was nowhere near where they were all pack manning, and
so rod off the spot, isn't it?
And this is gin clear Bundy's, deep as you like, right under your rod tips. It's like 20 foot. This fish has come across the front of the swim, and I've recognised it straight away. The one they call the Cartwell cover fish, and I was like, that's the Cartwell cover fish. He went, oh, how big's that? I went, low 40s, I think. He's gone, oh man, what strength line have you got on? I was like, 10 pound. 10 pound? Who uses 10 pound line? What size hook is it? I said, a size 10. A size 10? I'm never going to land a 40 pounder on a 10 pound line. I said, yeah, you'll be all right. Anyway, he's landed it. It was that fish. Now, this is something I've never done since. I used to tie the hook on with a knotless knot.
Yeah.
With like your hair sticking out your tag, and then I'd just trim that off. In the net, it's completely untwizzled itself. And Dave's gone to unhook it, and he's just picked up the hook link with this like twizzle bit of line and went, the hook's come off. And I was like, oh, that's lucky. Obviously, the pressure
it's kept it under tension.
Yeah, the tension of playing the fish, it was never going to come undone. But the memory in the mono untwizzled it and literally untied it off and the little size 10 was still in its mouth. So he caught his PB.
Jesus.
And that was proof. He was still in his work clothes. He hadn't even got changed into his fishing clothes. That's how quickly floater fishing can you know
good.
Can come good. And
absolutely.
You could go back, you could catch your PB this evening and be back at home, and to work tomorrow.
Get on the floaters. Yeah. There's opportunities, So
I think lastly, because we
spoke, lastly.
Yeah. Just that we spoke hooks and things like that, and like monos.
Yeah.
We do zig and floater mono, pre-stretch mono, it's thin. But also our zig hooks have got outturned eyes, because when people are knotless knotting and going back through the eye, if you're doing that with an inturned eye, with the pre-stretched monos, the pressure's against the eye, that can create weak spots and flat spots. So just be conscious to make sure you're using the right hook with mono combination. Outturned eye, you can whip through, line comes through, and when you put tension on it, it's not pressing the line against
it's basically increasing the breaking strain of your hook link.
Yeah.
Because there's no doubt about it, a 10 pound hook link is going to get you more bites than a 15 pound hook link. No two ways about it.
Yeah, it's like a good match angler. They scale down, they catch more. It's as simple as that, isn't it? So, yeah, get on the floaters, guys.
Now, Dean, with all that knowledge, you're going to be a really good
I am taking this to the bank. I promise you, I am going to have a go.
No.
Why don't you do much of it?
Should I say this? I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. Right. So,
this weekend.
I don't think it counts.
I might get sworn at here, and I don't mind. 2006, I had a tuition. Paid for me.
Tuition? Where are you from?
Tuition.
The dirty south?
Paid for me by my girlfriend at the time. Paid for a tuition. 2006.
She knew.
She knew.
He loves fishing, but he's terrible at it.
So
Merry Christmas.
2006, I had a tuition with Jim Shelley on floaters.
There's probably no one better to give you a tuition on floaters.
Watching him at Farlow's, teaching me.
Good pause, that.
Unbelievable. Literally, as you were saying, he had a fish on, and he was scooping the spod and putting a rod out with a spom at the time and keeping them there. I think we had 35 fish during like a 24-hour period, and I remember this was. At the site, we finished floater fishing. It was dropping, it was like 9 o'clock at night. It'd gone sort of that, just below, it's that monochrome colour. And he's like, they're done now, mate. We're done. I'm knackered. So I'm there tying a rig. And he goes, what are you doing? I said, and at the time I had a little stick mix and stuff. And he's like, oh, that's a fair brass rig. You're not going to catch nothing with that. You will not catch tonight. In fact, £100, you will not catch a fish tonight. And I was like, right, I'll show you.
Pound Dino, potty mouth.
I cast me bottom rod out, and I had nothing. 4:15 in the morning, he's shaking the bivvy. Get up, they're having them. And he's back on floater fishing at 4:15 in the morning. He had one within literally a couple of minutes, and he was like, look at all these bivvies across the other side. He was like, gnome, sitting there, sleeping. And he said, we're going to have 10 before they even wake up. And we did. So since that day, I had the best sort of days fishing in my life, and I think
it's all the floater fishing you ever needed to do.
That's all I needed to do.
Sounds to me like there was too much effort involved, Dean, and you wanted to be a gnome.
I'll give him that. Yeah. He is relentless when he's on the bank. But yeah, it was really and his eyesight to see a 10mm pop up at 60 yards. I'm like, I cannot see it. And he always said to me, if you think about it, it's too late on striking. He said, so that was something that overstayed with me. If you think about it, it's too late. And when I thought about it, I kept missing them. And he's like, you've got to strike as you see the lips approach. And by the time you pull at 60 yards, you'll hit it. And yeah, it was a very good, that was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So another pound there as well.
What about this weekend?
I should do something this weekend.
Does that venue, I don't even know the venue, but you might have an opportunity this weekend.
Yeah, possibility. Yeah. We are off to the Toll Pits social this weekend, so it might be possibility of breaking the.
Get him in the van. Get him in the van. They've always got to be in the van.
Guys, we are fastly running out of time. I've got a lovely surprise for you guys that I've kept quiet. I've told you nothing about it. It might work, it might not. No, unfortunately. I know those cakes are a bit dry. But first, before we get onto that, I'll finish on this lovely surprise for you.
What cakes?
But I just run into competitions. Obviously, I've sent you all this July's Fish of the Month for the Syndicate. Again, some amazing entries from mainly our youngsters this time. The under-18s did fantastic in July. Some really, really nice fish caught. But we went with Logan Reed, with this lovely scaly one.
This is everybody would want a fish like that in their album.
Was that a unanimous vote?
It was.
I think it was.
Yeah, 9 years old and catching a beautiful scaly one.
Well done, Logan.
Well done, Logan.
And then obviously the adults went to John with this 37-pound scaly on his first night at the New Water, catching one of the A-team. So
is that the one I voted for?
It was, mate.
Yeah, and that's the guy.
Framed one.
Yeah, that's the guy who lives up in the north, right up in the north, and travelled all the way down to Essex to fish.
Yeah,
and caught a 37-pound PB.
Happy days.
Yeah.
If ever that was motivation for people to get out there and put the effort in. Well done.
And do it. Yeah,
And what a fish as well. Absolute belter.
Yeah.
Yeah, had everything, doesn't it?
And if you want to message us to tell us where that venue is, John,
is there a guest going?
How close is it to the Essex office that we're in currently?
So yeah, guys, well done for all your entries. Keep them coming. If you want to get involved in Fish of the Month, guys, make sure you remember the syndicate. We keep telling you this. This is all intertwined with the podcast and the syndicate. The syndicate is Fox's official online community group. There's a QR code on your screen now. Hit that. That will take you there. If not, look in the comments. You'll see the link. Hit it. Get over there. Become a member, and you can get yourself £100 worth of Fox goodies.
Should do an extra prize this month
We should do an extra prize
for the floater fish caught of the month for August.
Yeah, we should do.
There you go.
There we
Go
go.
on then, we'll do it.
All right.
There we go.
How do we
Floater fish
proved
caught-
it was off the top?
Well,
We
we
just
just
got
got
to
to take
respect
their
people.
word
take
for
their
it.
word
Yeah.
for
It
I'm
is.
sure they're all an honest bunch.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
do that. Take some of the tips. Hopefully they're tips. You might already be a very proficient floater angler yourselves, but take some, give it a go, try it, and
I
send
reckon
them
so.
in.
Yeah, too right. And also, guys, if you want to get your hands on £100 worth of Fox goodies, in the comments below, let us know what is your favourite method to fish in the summer. Are you a zig angler? Are you a floater angler? Let us know what is your preferred method in these hot periods. Guys, obviously, we've got our big bundle that we're giving away at the end of Christmas, which we keep adding to. I've got a lovely bed chair
Bunch of
seat.
coconuts.
Good tune, that.
Bed chair seat, combo
I've got
chair.
A combo chair, yeah. The new Camelite ones. I've got one of them to put in the bundle.
What you have.
Well, you give it to me, Scott. So
I've got one of them.
and I thought, oh,
I
cheers,
was going to
Scott.
put that in, didn't
So it's actually come from Scott, I suppose. This for that. So.
It's come from.
I've also got. I bought it. I was going to bring it up here, but I didn't. I've got a Spom 12,000E reel, which will probably go nice on the Spom rod that Lewis
I donated.
donated. And
episodes ago.
also, I'll chuck in. We've got our new Spom E braid, which is basically a straight through braid that you don't need to use a leader on. That literally we launched yesterday. I'll throw in a spool of that.
Are you
as
going to
well.
expertly spool it up on the reel?
Yes.
Yeah, he is, Dean. He's going to spool it
Yes,
there you
a
go.
reel spooled
with braid on it.
Spommy 12,000 reel with Spommy braid.
The bundle keeps growing. And again, guys, you can only win this if you are a member of the syndicate. So don't miss out. Get over there. Right, time for your surprise, gents.
This is
This is good, right?
Unexpected.
First of all, it's Lewis's face when I hand
This is
this out.
worrying.
So I think
you've got it in a food
Kate can have
bag,
the red one. Luke can have a green one.
right?
It's got to be an orange one.
This didn't have an orange, but I've got a yellow.
That's close
It's
enough.
orange.
That's close enough.
Give you
Okay.
orange for that.
Right,
What's
guys.
it for?
So we'll know that's Scott.
Is that a different?
Yeah. That's Harry's. What's Lou? What you got, mate? Hey!
This should drop F-bombs.
Right, see, at this point,
Oh,
when we
say
have a
it loud.
guest, I normally do a quick fire round. But obviously, you're not guests. We're part of the original crew. So the music is now playing as we start to play Carp Mastermind. Dun, 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 dun. The music's playing. The music is playing. So I've got 14 questions here. If you know the answer, hit your buzzer, and obviously that'll be a point. And every time there's no guest.
Well, hang
this
on.
is-
You've got to get the answer right, though.
Oh, you've got to get the
Just
answer
hitting
right.
the buzzer to,
Yeah.
just hitting the buzzer to get a
Hit the
point.
buzzer.
6-0.
Right, hit the buzzer. So this is Carp Mastermind. Play the music. Dun, dun, dun. It's great music, isn't it? Right. Question 1, boys. It'll be all manner of topics from venues to anglers to all
I'm quite
sorts. right?
tense about this.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm feeling a bit-
Carp
I'm
Mastermind.
too competitive.
Yeah.
for
Volume
stuff like
1.
this.
Question 1. Who am I? I was born in
Dean Watson.
I haven't got an even answer to that, Scott. That's brilliant. Love that.
You shouldn't laugh at your own jokes.
Right, I'm going to have to play the music again now. Here we go. Okay. Question 1. Who am I? I was born in 1964 in Fulham, London. I was the first angler to catch a carp over £40 from Wellington Country Park. I also caught the famous basil from Yateley Northlake in 1992.
That's it.
Lewis?
Carry on for a bit.
Richie McDonald.
No. One of my books is titled A Merry Old Dance.
Mickey Gray.
Mickey Gray.
That's what I was gonna say.
I hit it.
No, I already pressed the button.
Ages ago.
Yeah, but you didn't give me a time limit. I was still.
Yes, it was a time. You got the answer wrong.
That was yours, Harry.
Yeah.
That is-
Right. I'm going to have to keep scores here now.
Yeah,
H1-0.
I think we all knew that at the same time.
I knew it before when I
shouted it
first
before I
pressed
hit
it,
the
and
button.
then I was having
I'd-
second thought.
Yeah,
The 1960 thing was doing me, but then I remembered that he had his 60th birthday last year. Or the year before. I can remember him celebrating his 60th.
brilliant book that.
Yeah, great book.
It is
Really
a great book,
good
isn't it?
book.
Question 2, guys. What venue am I? I have the River Kennet running near and...
Go, you've
No.
got to say.
Ways in a state?
No. We'll carry on.
Do you get like a minus point?
He's-
or
he's
a-
frozen
you're
out.
Frozen out. Oh, yeah. You're frozen
Dinton.
out.
No,
You're
frozen out. You can carry on after the first next bit. Where am I? I have a swim called the Speedboat Point.
Burfield.
Burfield, Lou.
I thought he was frozen out.
No, he said I got frozen back in after he started talking again.
Yeah.
What?
I only got... Sorry. Okay. Number 3. Mainline Sail had 2 years of testing before it was released to the public and the public domain and tackle shops. But what year was it officially released?
I should know that.
2002.
Ooh, a lot later, believe it or not. It was...
Hang on.
Well, you can't tell us the answer.
I'm not
Dave.
saying... I've got,
All right.
Carry on.
Harry's out now because he got
Yeah.
the wrong answer.
Anyone want to buzz in on this?
Oh, come on, just guess.
2012.
No. Last chance.
2007.
Oh, Lou, you're a year out.
2006.
2008.
Eight.
2006
Wow.
released to the field testers.
So I
2008
get a
to
point
the
for the
public.
nearest, do I? Dean?
No, it's just void. Sorry. Question 4. Who was our first guest ever on this podcast back in June 25?
Mozza.
It was Mozza. Well done. Name the angler who invented the throwing stick.
Frank Warwick.
Frank. Did he invent the throwing stick? I want to say he invented the throwing stick.
He's acknowledged as being the person who
The plastic one.
invented it.
The Cobra stick was before then.
Oh, here we
Adjudication.
go.
I
Here we
think-
go.
I'd say
Fox
that.
I don't
people.
think
I'd say
that's it,
that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Right, Fox
I was
people.
thinking
The first Fox product Cliff Fox released was a metal ruler to show the fish size in lengths in matches. But what was the first ever product to have the Fox name stamped on it?
Who was that? That's it. Cool.
It's on our website. Harry.
No, he did press
God,
that button.
sorry.
Mine's just a bit louder.
Badger.
No.
Oh, no, which one is then?
I'll give you a clue. It's a small product, not of the carp domain.
It's a
Scott,
feeder.
I'll give you that.
Swim
It's,
feeder.
it's a metal bait dropper
Well, yeah.
feeder.
Whoa.
Yeah. Of course.
I'm letting him have it because
It's a
he's
feeder.
on 0.
I'm on 0. I'm on 1. Oh, no, I got the first question right. Who you are?
DEI.
I think it's largely recognised as being the bed chair. Though.
Yeah.
All right, question 7, guys. Richard Walker caught the famous Carissa from Redmire, making it a British record at the time. What year was this?
I thought he was going to say what weight was it?
1964.
Nope.
No. It was
Come to Lewis.
1965.
Come to Scott.
1958.
Right, all fail. 1952.
1953. That one.
1952.
Time goes so quick.
I know.
I think I just dropped an S-bomb.
There are people who know the answers to all
Oh,
of
yeah,
these.
take
a point off,
Absolutely
Scott.
spitting
Absolutely.
at their-
Right.
Take a point off. No, just stick a quid
Right,
in.
there's a go. Here's one for you then. Number 8. Before Corder went it alone, which established tackle company?
Gardner,
Well done, H. On it.
What?
which
used-
established distributed them, I imagine
Yeah,
is what you were
they
going
did.
to say.
Oh, is that what you're going for? You
Yeah.
preempted that.
At the
Okay.
time, it was only leads and leaders and a few hooks, but yeah, it was Gardner Tackle.
That's what too many days spent in a tackle shop in my youth got me. Answering that
Question 9. Rob Hughes and Simon Crowe back in the early 90s had a bait company. What was it called? Scott.
I think Lewis got
was me.
that first.
I've got my
Surely.
I think
independent
Lewis
adjudicator who's going to help me. Who was it?
Me. Harry.
I think it was. Dylan wasn't even watching.
Can you stop, rewind and have a look? Tell us. Definitely me.
I think it was Lewis.
Go on, Lou.
Carp Balls UK.
It was Carp Balls UK. Done.
Right,
Robbed
pay more
again.
attention, please, Dylan.
Right.
Robbed again.
Who am I, Dean Watson? Who am I? I began carp fishing in 1989. I cut my teeth up north with a group of
Pictures.
Nope. Scott?
Oh, I was going to say Ali, but it's not.
Of well-known carp anglers. You didn't hit your button.
No, but they're not. They're frozen until you
You
start.
started, you started
talking.
again. That's how you got
but
that
I didn't
one.
get the opportunity to give an answer.
Well, because you haven't pressed your buzzer.
Well, you have now. Go on, give an answer.
Give an answer. Or would you like me to carry on?
Miles Gibson.
No. One of my known catchers was Black Spot. I did my... Lou?
Scott Lloyd.
No. Harry?
Gaz Fairham.
Gaz Fairham. Well done.
1989.
That's when he began carp fishing. Yes.
I was gonna say. I thought you said born.
I was going to... It will carry on. I'm a teacher by trade.
Well, that's a lie.
Yeah.
You used to be.
I used to
Where are you
be.
getting your facts from here?
Hey,
Tim?
and my autobiography is called Adrift. There you go. Anyway, question 11. Which lake is recognised as the birthplace of the herring? Lewis.
Waveney Valley.
No. Scott.
Save?
It is Savvy.
Oh,
done, mate.
that's questionable.
It is
Questionable
Savvy.
about
I don't
it.
think it
I pressed
is.
my buzzer and said Save.
I think Lenny Middleton developed it at Waveney before Savvy. I think he took it to Savvy and used it at Waveney.
You'll have to
Well,
take
we
that.
let you have the Frank Warwick one, which I don't think technically is right neither, so let's call it quits.
Right, I'll have to take that up with carpology. Question 12. There's only 3 more to go, guys. Which brand was formerly named Happy Hooker Tackle? Lewis.
Nash.
It was Nash. So far, H and Lewis are drawing.
What's the score?
Yeah, you're
What,
drawing.
God.
It's 4-all. 2 to
I'm
go.
2
2
behind
to
on
go. Right. Which fox angler fished next to Rod Hutchinson in a match as a teenager? That was Lou just in.
It was.
Mark Pictures.
No, I was me second, surely. Bartlett.
It was Bartlett.
Yes.
Oh, this. If you win the next one, it could be a complete tie.
Yes.
4-4-4. Right. That you have to. It's going to be quick. This one. First to hit the button. Dill, I need help with this one. Last question. Which carp angler is the author of...
Go on, you got
Ian Chilcott.
Oh, no, it's not. No, right, I'll carry on. Rolling in the Deep.
Oh.
Help me,
That
Dill.
was me, and it's
Oh,
Adam
no,
Pennin.
it was not. Why is he saying that was him?
Adam Pennin, that was me.
Who was it?
Who do you think it was?
I did think it was Harry, to be honest.
Thank you. It was Adam Penning.
Never was that Harry.
There you go.
You got it mixed up, Dylan. haven't you?
That's mine.
They're all pretty similar.
They're all pretty similar.
What's the score? Was that the last one?
That was the last one.
Red flash first.
And the
We've
scores
got-
are?
H with 5, Lewis
5,
with 4, Scott with 3.
9, 3. How can it... I thought none of us got any answers right. How many was it? 14 questions?
Yeah.
All right, I'll let you
yeah.
do the maths. Yeah, no worries.
Go on then. What do I win?
Well,
All
this
of the
is-
swear money.
That cake.
Yeah, you can have one of the last 2 cakes.
Right.
No,
Let's swap the buzzers round now. I'll do one. Who am I? I used to present a podcast for Fox.
It's that Simon guy from Corda. But yeah, no, we're going to keep this right. Every time it's the original crew, and we haven't got a guest, this is what we'll finish our podcast with. So
Good
yeah,
fun.
Carp Mastermind.
Good fun. Bit of money for charity.
Yeah, it's all good. Once again,
I didn't even mean to do that. Just went off in my hand. I'm sorry.
guys, thanks for joining in. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next one.
Goodbye.
Cheers.
I can confirm after the VAR review, the first Carp Mastermind leaderboard looks like this. Lewis 5, Harry 4, and Scott 3. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.